My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey there, have you ever kind of been confused as to where you fit into the big picture of real estate investing? What is your role? What should you be focusing on? What do you do best? Do you kind of feel like a Jack or Jane of all trades? Well, today's special guest, Grant Regner, zooming in from beautiful Indiana, has really helped a lot of people define their role, figure out their role in real estate investing. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome to the show, Grant. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's start. First things first. As a real estate investor, as a real estate entrepreneur, can you give us a big picture, 30,000 foot perspective of what you do as an active real estate investor as of mid 2024? What do you do?
Yeah, sure, Dave. So right now, my focus is on commercial multifamily. So I focus on things like apartments, and I help investors find the right opportunity for them. And I sponsor those deals and invest in some of those deals myself. So it's coming from a place of experience.
Very good. So all sorts of sizes of apartments, all sorts of markets. What's kind of your sweet spot?
Yeah, so I focus on the state of Indiana, which is where I
Which is
currently
good where
live.
you live. So you know that place pretty well. Good.
Yeah, they say it's your backyard, so it's a great place to start. So I'm in a few markets here in Indiana. We also look at some deals outside, like Ohio and some other Midwestern states in the US here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my focus. And we generally are doing deals that are like 5 million and under. That's kind of our focus right now as far as deal
So
size.
how many units? Because 5 million and under in Indiana might be different than New York City.
Yeah, typically it's a lot more units. So we typically like anything between 10 and 100 right now.
Okay, very good. So multifamily, primarily in Indiana. And now when it comes to the whole finding your role as a real estate investor or in real estate, what does that mean to you? Like if somebody's asking, what is this whole role thing, Grant? How do you kind of define that to a newer investor or somebody who's not that familiar with real estate?
Sure, there are a couple different things that come to mind when you ask me that question. And one is on the investor side. So if you're somebody that's looking to place capital in a deal, there are a sea of opportunities out there, and trying to figure out which one suits you best, which one has the best culture fit, which one might be the safest. That's sort of a key question that I get from a lot of people. And so that's something that I like to help people figure out. And if maybe a joint venture is best for them, or a syndication is best for them, or maybe being an operator is best for them, we kind of talk through that. There are so many options in this industry. It can be overwhelming. And when you're first getting started, it's helpful to talk to somebody that's got some experience with that. So that's a conversation that I enjoy having. The second thing is on the operations side. So,
Okay.
it takes a village to do what we do, in commercial multifamily. You can't do it alone, like buying a single family house. So it takes a team. So if you want to be an operator, if you want to sponsor deals and source deals and manage construction and do things like that, you need to figure out your role on the team. You can't do everything. You're going to need some help. And likewise, the people that you join up with, they're going to need help from you. So where do you fit in? So that's another conversation that I like to have.
Well, let's maybe unwrap that one a little bit more there, Grant, because you've got experience with that. So, what, in your estimation, are the different roles when you're part of a team? And I know you mentioned that you're a sponsor. Maybe assume that some of the listeners aren't familiar with the terminology and maybe define what the different things are.
Sure, Dave.
Yeah.
So on the operations side, you'll hear some terms like sponsor more in the syndication world. And what that means is you are one of the people who is sort of putting the deal together. So you have maybe helped find the deal, find a property that's for sale. You've maybe helped put it under contract. You're maybe helping communicate the investment opportunity to other investors. You're sort of on the core team that's making it all happen.
Hmm.
And on the operations side, there's a similar term, but when you're doing a joint venture, which is just a small group of people where you're not really raising a lot of outside capital, but you're coming together with maybe just a couple people and buying a building together,
Yeah.
you'll often see terms like GP, which is general partner. And you'll see that in syndication some too, but GP is another word for somebody that's on the sponsor team. And that just means, hey, you're one of the guys putting the deal together. Maybe you're in charge of construction. Maybe you're in charge of raising some capital. Maybe you're in charge of doing the business plan or managing the asset or doing the marketing. So those are some other terms and roles on that side.
Okay, very cool. So basically, whether it's a syndication and you've got sponsors and you've got that core team, or it's a joint venture, it's kind of the roles are kind of similar, right? It really depends on how actively involved you are. And then, especially with a syndication, you typically have a bunch of investors involved with that, depending on how it's structured, perhaps as limited partners in that deal. They're not actively doing anything. They're just putting in their capital and they're receiving a share in that project in exchange. Would that be correct?
That's exactly right. And that's something
Mhm.
that I didn't know when I got into this business, the difference between what a syndication was versus a smaller joint venture. And you
Mhm.
kind of nailed it. A syndication is a way for you to legally raise some outside money from people who are not active in the company. A smaller joint venture deal, you really need all the partners to have some type of active role. So they might be an officer in the company, or they might be doing something on the project. But in a syndication, you're allowed to have a significant part of the team who are considered passive. So that's a really key differentiator there.
Yeah, good point. Well, thank you very much for explaining and expanding that. So, with the people that you've been working with recently, where does most of the confusion about roles come from, or where does most of the clarification about roles come from? Are you typically working with uh, people who already have some experience with real estate investing? They want to get into bigger deals, not quite sure where they fit in, or brand new people that just are testing the waters with real estate in general?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are confused a little bit by the fact that this is really much more similar to private equity than it is sort of that mom and pop house flipping real estate investor. When you're in commercial multifamily, it's more akin to buying a business. So you might even buy the entity that owns the building, or you
Mhm.
might create a new entity that runs the building. So it's that business level stuff that changes from, hey, I bought some single family rentals. I know investing. Let me invest with you. And it's like, well, this is a little different. And we're really creating a company here together. We might start a new LLC that purchases a multifamily property, and we're a team. So this is a
Mhm.
team game. So it's not like what you were doing before. So a little bit of handholding helps there, helps them understand. So I typically ask them their experience with business. Hey, have you ever been a partner in a business? Have you ever done a startup? Anything like that. If they have experience doing that, the team and figuring out the roles is usually pretty simple because they've been through it. But I deal with a lot of people who were like me like 5 to 10 years ago who didn't know all the roles in these companies and how they
Yeah,
work. So it's fun conversation to
it's
work
helping them
out
connect
where
the
they fit.
dots.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, hey, we need this particular role for this particular deal. Is that a good fit for you? So we figure that out.
Very, very cool. What have been some of your biggest learning experiences transitioning from single family homes into the multifamily space and these change of roles?
The first thing that came to mind was the length of time that the deals take. So
A little bit longer, I'm guessing.
just a touch, just a touch. Yeah. So pretty unique situation, just between basic things like due diligence, to writing up the contracts, the length of the contracts, to the financing. Everything takes longer. Everything takes
Mhm.
longer. So,
And
I'm used
cost
to
more,
closing. Oh, of course.
way
That's
more.
that's real estate, right? Takes longer, costs more.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that was kind of the biggest change and learning experience for me was I understood the business side of it. I've been involved in startups before. I've done partnerships before. So I fit in really well when it came to that. But yeah, I had no idea the length of time difference that there was. It might take, 7, 8 months to close a deal, and I'm used to doing it in a couple weeks. So
That'd be a little shock to the system, that's for sure.
yeah.
And Grant, there's so many different roles in a multifamily project, typically a syndication. What resonates best with you? Where do you fit in best in that sponsorship team? What do you typically do?
Man, my favorite thing to do, Dave, is to put the whole thing together. So I really love
I thought
it's
I thought
called
you had to share some of that responsibility with everybody else. So
Hey, I'm willing to, but I do love it.
yeah,
So yeah, so typically that's called asset management. So that's the
okay.
fancy word for, hey, you're helping, bring the deal together. You're finding the right people to fit in those spots. You're kind of guiding the deal. You're developing the business plan. Some of it is real work. It's not all in my brain. Some of
Mhm.
it is filing, government paperwork for the entity. It's setting up bank accounts. It's giving everyone else the tools that they need to do their job so that the company has a solid foundation. And I just love that, man. And I think that goes back to my startup days a little bit of like, hey, I love that energy of setting up something new and helping everybody out and bringing in people. And that's just kind of my bread and butter.
You're almost like the quarterback, the detail focused quarterback guy.
Yes, but I'm not nearly as tough as a quarterback. So
But you know what? It really is about the nitpicky detail stuff. You need to have somebody like yourself on the team that actually enjoys that. Myself, I'd rather stick a needle in my eye than go through all that, paperwork and red tape and all that kind of stuff. But it sounds like you actually enjoy it.
I actually enjoy it. And I say the
Yeah.
same thing about the guys that handle the construction projects for me. I'm like, I don't know how you guys keep doing this every day, but I am so thankful to have you on the team.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about what we opened up with. It's all about finding your place, finding your role in the team so that you can, you don't have redundancies and you can focus on what you're good at versus what needs to be done. Different people on the bus, like they say, right?
Exactly right. You nailed
Yeah.
it.
Very, very cool. So, hey, Grant, as we're wrapping things up here, if people want to connect with you, they've probably figured out you're a pretty smart guy. If they'd like to find out more about how you can help them out and how you can work with them, what should they do?
Yeah, right now I'm documenting my journey to 100 units and beyond, and you can connect with me at Grant the Investor on Instagram.
Very good. Well, hey, Grant, thank you very much for unwrapping what the different roles and positions are, especially with a multifamily syndication. I think that's been very helpful.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. I appreciate the invite.
Everybody, take care. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.